is they should now give an equal amount of funding to a Hindu to do a depiction on Islam. What is the Hindus' experience, historical experience for 1200 years since the invasion of Islam, invasion of India by Islam, and what all has happened, what all atrocities have happened? Look at a Hindu lens.
Yep.
I mean, they should allow that, and CNN would never allow that because this is the Fareed Zakaria's CNN influence. Right. You know, the CNN has become exceedingly pro-Islamic, you know, and this is part of that. And it's supposed to be some leftist, liberal, you know, neutral kind of a news channel, and in many ways it is. But these kinds of things put in doubt their credentials as a truly neutral organization.
And that's really unfortunate because people like us are kind of the liberal, not from a leftist mindset, but liberal, meaning Hinduism itself advocates a lot of thoughts that are very liberating, thoughts that are very worldly. And being like students and being young professionals, we are also like, we don't have any problems with anybody in the world. Just let us live, just respect our culture, we'll respect who you are. But when you start to see this, then you start to feel very disturbed, because I used to watch CNN a lot. I used to be on the website. That's how I used to get my news from. Right. That's what a lot of young people get their news from. And when you start showing stuff like this, it just shows that this tradition that people are coming from is horrible.
I wish they had gotten a proper scholar of Hinduism. I mean, the person who did this, Reza Aslan, is a professor of creative writing. He's not a professor of religion.
He's very creative. I mean, he's very creative.
He wrote a book on Jesus. He was a Muslim who became Christian, then he again became Muslim. He's a member of the American Academy of Religion. There's plenty of scholars of Hinduism who are specialists in Hinduism, who are accountable for what they say. The CNN could have hired somebody else to do this, to do a better job.
Not only that, Rajivji, okay, they hired Reza Aslam because maybe he looks good, he talks nicely, okay. However, you should be interviewing people who are Hindu scholars. Having one small professor from Banaras Hindu University or one small Swamiji, there are tons of high-profile, well-respected Swamijis, spiritual leaders, teachers, gurus in India that you could go to. In Kashi itself, in Varanasi itself, you can go to and say, tell me a little bit more about the tradition. There are 23,000 temples in there, very famous in Varanasi alone.
Yes.
And famous people like Tulsidas, Kabir, Meera, Sushruta, who's a surgeon, Gautam Buddha. All of these people have
Guru
come.
Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, went there.
Shankaracharya established the Shaivite tradition in Kashi himself. There's huge amount. Huensang from China visited and described this place as a beautiful place with a lot of religious activity, a lot of scholars going there. Where is all that material? Why not talk about those things? Why not talk about the influence of Ganga in the entire Indian population?
And the thing I worry about is, I wonder, what was CNN's motive? What were they trying to do? If they were trying to explain Hinduism, they failed.
Yes.
If they were trying to show the world is one and there are many beautiful places in the world and we should appreciate them and have mutual respect, they failed.
Yes.
If they were trying to create hatred, prejudice, suspicion towards your Hindu neighbor, then that is probably the most likely thing that went on here, which is unfortunate. I want to say the following. There has been a lot of reaction to this video, to this documentary. What surprises me is that the Hindu American Foundation, which raises $1 million a year, the richest Hindu foundation in the United States, sucks in a lot of funding, for public relations. They don't have much scholarship, but they have a lot of funding they spend a lot of money on public relations. They came out with a mixed report on this. First of all, Reza Aslan, who produced this documentary, says that he's been supported by Hindu American Foundation, that they actually supported this. When we put a lot of pressure on Hindu American Foundation that did you do your homework, why are you doing this? Because they've also supported in the past other things that Hindus find problematic, and many Hindus have said they don't represent us properly. So then in defense, they came back with a statement sort of saying, no, we didn't quite support him. But it's contradictory, it's sort of confusing. He says, this is the HAF, Hindu American Foundation website statement. He says, we do not believe Aslan to be Hindu-phobic. Okay. But then to cover themselves, they say, we are deeply concerned that his program's erroneous depictions, misleading imagery, and unnecessarily provocative scenes could exacerbate Hindu phobia. Well, if what he's doing is misleading and imagery, erroneous and all of that stuff, provocative, then he's Hinduphobic.
Exactly.
Okay, and then he says, they also go on to say, what he's showing very much feels like an insult to Hinduism, you know. So I don't understand why they're sucking up to him. I mean, are they trying to cover themselves both ways? Maybe there's a grant from CNS coming.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an academic kind of an affinity that they are trying to always suck up to lots of people, because the PR mentality is to suck up to everybody rather than take a strong principled stand. So I really don't understand where HAF is coming from. Then they say it recognizes, it's almost like an apology, that the media thrives on being sensationalist and provocative. So the very goal of this type of infotainment is to shock rather than educate. It's almost like they're saying, like, you know, this is sort of okay because this is how media is supposed to.
It's normalizing.
It's normalizing the media. What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, if this information is not Hindu-phobia, then what is? Yes. I don't know what the definition of Hindu-phobia then is. The guy says Ganga is one giant toilet. Okay, he's showing a Baba urinating. You know, he's showing people eating brains, parts of the brain. That's not Hindu-phobia, then what else can it be Hindu-phobia? And it doesn't matter which organization is trying to cover their rear ends. Whoever's trying to do that, they should be held accountable. Because if you think that this is not Hindu-phobic, then you're not really defending or protecting Hindus. So no matter who you are calling yourself the forefront organization that is voicing their displeasure for Hindus or standing up for Hindus. You're not, because you're not even defending Hindu-phobia itself. And you're saying this is really not Hindu-phobia. This is xenophobia to the highest degree for Hindus.
So your comment, final comments, and then we'll close.
So I just want to say that not only were the depictions within this documentary extremely problematic, as Nikunj, yourself, and I have brought out, but there were also, you know, blatant falsehoods spread about Hinduism as it relates to the caste system. So, you know, for a news organization like CNN, who will be taken with some credibility to put this out, it's really bad. It goes against journalistic ethics, and an ethics also that an academic should practice, like Reza Aslan. So I think this documentary was problematic on multiple fronts.
So Rajiv, I have a question for you. People say, you know, in our groups and our activists themselves sometimes say, you know, I watched this documentary. It's not really that problematic. You know, yeah, he has some disturbing scenes, but then he ends on like a high note where he's saying, oh, everyone should be happy, everyone should get along. This is the real message of Hinduism, yada, yada, yada. I just wanted to get some thoughts of yours, what you think, how you have been seeing this.
Well, unfortunately, the vast majority of Hindus who go out and have a lot of opinions really have never gotten out of their comfort zone into the Kurukshetra to engage what is the bias like in schools, in colleges, in media, how it affects mental health, how it affects you know, the psychological makeup of our children in this country, how there's a denial of our tradition. In other words, I've been writing for 25 years on this issue. And, you know, you have to connect the dots. You cannot take something in isolation and say, okay, this won't cause us any harm. Of course it's causing us harm. The reason blacks would complain if there were a stereotyping of blacks, you could also say, hey, it doesn't matter. The point is, they know it matters.
Yes.
Because the reason women would complain, if you had a whole CNN documentary which basically focused on women doing dishwashing and that sort of the stereotype of what a woman's job ought to be, that's the definition, of course women would complain. If gays were stereotyped that way, they would complain. If Hispanics, they would complain. Certainly, Islam would complain. Yes. Certainly, if this were about Christians, they would complain. Now, I want you to know that CNN has another series in the second year on Jesus.
Finding Jesus.
Finding Jesus. That's all about the historicity of Jesus. They interview archaeologists who says, oh, I found this is proof. And they interview some linguist and some historian.
Yep.
And they make it look like very intriguing, very complicated thing. But it's all heading towards, you know, the historicity of Jesus being established. Now, this is a liberal left-wing channel. But it is finding Jesus. That is a major topic of their in the second year. The equivalent would be if a very liberal left-wing Indian channel said that, you know, the majority religion is Hinduism, so we should have finding the historical Rama, and with a positive spin, or with finding the historical Krishna, and interview all kinds of Hindu experts, archaeologists, linguists, all kinds of people, to show how over a period of time more and more data is being compiled.
Collected, exactly.
So there is an asymmetry here. The people on the Indian left who would support this sort of a thing when it's done in the United States, and would support this finding Jesus kind of a thing when it's done in the United States, have an exactly opposite stand towards Hinduism the way it's portrayed in India. There's a kind of duplicity there.
That's right.
So with that, I think we will close. Thank you for watching. Please comment on the Facebook page where this is going live. We would love to have your comments. And I want you to say, I want HSC to be back.
Sure.
I want HSC to be back for more such shows.
Yeah, and we'll also have
very much.
Yeah, we also have a announcement that on Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. in New York, in Manhattan, we will be holding a protest, a community protest. About 25 or more organizations are coming together to protest against the CNN documentary by the CNN's offices in Manhattan, which is 10 Columbus Circle in New York. So yeah, we will be there, and we look forward to seeing the Hindu community there as well.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.